Hello out there in internet land. Welcome to Good Lawgic. Whether you are watching on YouTube or through locals where the cool redheads hang, or on Rumble, we are very appreciative that you took the time. What? Facebook? We're on Facebook? Since when? 3 months? Are you kidding me? Why? It's 2023. Who's still on Facebook? Do they even still call them?
Okay, that's dated. That's really dated, especially since I'm not on Facebook anymore. What the heck was that? What was that? Who did that? Who queued that up? Someone's getting fired. Someone's getting fired. It's 2020. Unbelievable. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Viewers Discretion. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. This is a topic I did not put on the agenda for tonight, which is really an appropriate topic for Viewers Discretion. And I'm hesitant to bring this topic up. I'm not going to kid you. I'm hesitant to bring this topic up because I started this conversation. I don't know if I started it. Well, someone started this conversation in my house on Friday night. Family was all gathered around. There was like, I don't know, a dozen or so of us there. And somehow the conversation came up as to whether facial features from a group of people who are all, related, whether that's more product of genetics or environment. And the conversation became very heated. Very heated. Like, in other words, like, because I was like, you can't tell me, amongst, we can say in the Orient, amongst Asians, Chinese people look different from Korean, and they both look different from Japanese. And Russians look different from other Eastern European nations. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that it's purely genetics. I think that, well, anyway, it was. I was thinking this is a great conversation. I'm thinking about having this conversation as to the role of genetics. But I was like, if I start doing this tonight, I'm never going to get to like Pavel Durov, which I really want to talk about. I'm never going to get to Kamala, and I will get to the memes because there's no. I'm not going to be running through the memes, but like I'm not going to. I mean, the RFK stuff, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm sort of like torn about. I'm going to try to like. Well, if I manage to segue in there, whoop, like then all of a sudden we're just the conversation may just sort of launch off for like an hour about this because apparently there are some people who do not completely agree with me, which means that they're wrong, and I had to make that point. And they're sitting there. We were sitting there like yelling in a friendly way, but like, no, you're totally wrong here on this. With like the whole genetics versus environment. Like if you had a whole bunch of, and people were trying to bring evidence of their position on these various factors from different groups of people who migrated at a particular time. You think all Native Americans? It's an interesting conversation. Anyway, we'll get there. Yeah, it was totally racist conversation. It was not a racist conversation. I did get more grace since Thursday. It's definitely happened. Anyhow, let's get on into it because I got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. But this is what I'm planning on covering tonight. Okay, I'm planning on covering Pavel Durov and his arrest. He's the founder of Telegram, and he was arrested. And there's all sorts of different perspectives as to the charges, which seem voluminous charges that they've dropped against him, implying he's like, basically the second coming of George Soros, or some level evil, in that zone. And then I also want to talk about developments in the Trump campaign since JFK has come on board. and different things developing with Kamala. I got some memes I wanted to share with you, and at some point I'm probably going to branch into that whole genetic thing, genetics versus environment, because it is an interesting thing to me. Different groups of people who carry similar facial characteristics or other bodily characteristics to others. So primarily face is what I'm focusing on. Anyway, I want to start off with Pavel Durov. If you're unfamiliar with who Pavel Durov is, this is him. This is him right here. In an interview with Tucker Carlson, a little snippet here from his interview with when he was discussing Elon's purchase of X. How did that happen? What is that? Yeah, okay, I know you don't see it. How did that happen? Just zoomed out there for a second. Let's start that over.
To be fair, you have now Twitter or X.
Yeah.
That seemingly becoming more pro freedom of speech. It's a great development, and things are starting to change. It seems we love the fact that Elon bought Twitter. We thought it was a great development for a number of reasons. First reason is just innovation. You could see X trying a lot of things. Some of them will turn out to be mistakes. Some of them will work, but at least they're trying to innovate. That's something we didn't have outside of Telegram and a few other companies in this industry for the last 10 years.
Well, that's true. Innovation is always good. It makes everyone is forced to sort of up their game.
What X is trying to do is innovation, trying different things, trying to give power to the creators, trying to get the ecosystem economy going. Those are all exciting things, and I think we need more companies like that. I don't know if it's good for humanity that Elon is spending so much time on Twitter making it better, but it's definitely good for the social media industry.
So there you go. There's one man's thoughts about Elon, and that is Pavel Durov. Most people, they certainly are a lot fewer people who know who Pavel Durov is compared to knowing who Elon Musk is. And apparently, he's been arrested in France. Here's the best breakdown I found of this was over here. Apparently, the guy spends a lot of time in the gym. That's Pavel right there.
Pavel Durov is one of the most interesting men in the world. He has a net worth of $15 billion, yet owns no assets. He's fathered over 100 kids, yet never had relations with the mothers.
I think when he says never had relations with the mothers, I assume that means never married any. That's the only way I understood that.
Created VK in Russia and trolled government officials, and even his hairline unreceded out of respect.
That's pretty wild. How does that happen?
But his greatest achievement is the creation of Telegram, a social platform with over 1 billion users that doesn't run ads, has only 30 employees, and is engineered to be extremely annoying to anyone who glows in the dark. He once said, "To be truly free, you should be ready to risk everything for freedom." Well, yesterday, that risk was realized when he was arrested in France and is now facing up to 20 years in prison, with potential charges for money laundering, fraud, sanctions evadement, for doing terrorisms, and the list goes on.
So I just want to point out, look at the vast distinction between this report here. Okay. I just want to show you the distinction here because it's kind of crazy to me. The distinction between this one and this report right here from Bloomberg. This report from Bloomberg is a lot more aggressive against Pavel.
Well, the messaging app Telegram has questioned the grounds for the detention of its CEO. Pavel Durov was taken into custody at Paris, in Paris, I should say, at the airport over the weekend. Our tech reporter Annabelle Julius joins us now. So what exactly has happened? Because there's obviously some rules in terms of how long he can be detained for. That can be rolled over. Have we heard about what the underlying sort of allegations might be.
Yeah, well, you actually have seen that detention already rolled over, which means that he could be facing court on Monday. But just backtracking a little bit and talking about what happened over the weekend. So Pavel Durov is someone who established Telegram back in 2013 with his brother. He's Russian by birth, but we don't actually know if he's given up that citizenship. It does play into the story a little bit later on. But essentially, he was detained at Lawgic over the weekend, which is an airport on the outskirts of Paris. All of this was first reported by the AFP, but they're saying that there was suspicion that he failed to take steps to prevent criminal use of Telegram. Now,
he failed to take steps to prevent criminal use of Telegram. So that's why France arrested him. He failed to take steps to prevent criminal use of Telegram. I assume by criminal use there that they mentioned narcotics there, and I think it includes, they claim, in order to bask themselves, cloak themselves in virtue, that they're talking about CP, which is ironic considering that France just finished hosting the Paris Olympics, and we saw that in the opening ceremonies, nobody got arrested for endangering children by having them around all sorts of crazy levels of genitalia.
Telegram as a messaging app, many people would be familiar with it, but it has been often linked to extremist activity online. It's seen as being quite light touch on content moderation as well. And that's a way that this really misinformation, for instance, can kind of spread like wildfire on it. And so authorities are becoming much more aware of this now. And we saw, for instance, the UK, for instance, talking about it. And it's...
Did you really find me on Facebook? Did you really? That's so. I'm going to go back to Facebook. Now, when you tell me you found me on Facebook, I'm going back to Facebook. I'm going to go back to Facebook. That's what I'm going to do. I had no idea. I thought nobody saw me there. Nobody. I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of this. And I was like, I have to upgrade in order to share to X and Facebook and Rumble and YouTube, which is 4 sources. I need to upgrade my StreamYard. And I was like, I think I got like 5 people watching me on Facebook. But if you're telling me that that's where you found me, well, that was worth the investment for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how they're coming after him for this. It's really crazy, and it's not that they're interested in him. They're interested in you. That's what this is about. They're interested in you, and they're frustrated that Telegram is hurting their ability to spy on you.
Role and its prominence in those anti-immigrant riots back in August earlier this month. Now, the French authorities apparently are as well taking notice here, because the AFP says that OVMIN, which is an agency set up to combat violence against minors, they're the ones that are said to have established this arrest warrant for Durov.
What have we heard from Telegram?
Yeah, they actually put out a response in the last couple of hours, and kind of, as you might expect, they're saying that essentially that they abide by all of the laws in the EU, that they do actually have high content moderation standards.
It's very dismissive, as you might expect. That's what they claim, you know.
And it's are improving as well. They do make note of that in their statement. They are saying that the CEO has nothing to hide, that he travels across Europe frequently, and that they're also, you can see this response here, but they're also awaiting a prompt resolution of the situation. Toncoin, which is actually a cryptocurrency linked to Telegram, did slide pretty significantly off the back of this, down more than 20%. So there is a clear market reaction and nervousness around this as well.
So this has caught global attention. Authorities are now involved. So what's next here?
Well, as Heidi was saying there before, that we did see that arrest warrant extended, and so it does mean that Durov could face the courts on Monday. We are as well hearing from the Russian embassy in Paris, and that's what I was saying before. Durov is Russian by birth, rather. He does have citizenship in France and the UAE now. It's unclear whether he's renounced his Russian citizenship, but we are still hearing from Russian officials, and they're saying that they do want an explanation for the reasons, and also demanded that they ensure the protection of his rights and provide consular access.
So apparently he has ties to UAE. Apparently he spends most of his time living in Dubai, as well as having a house in Western France, and originally from Russia. And this is what they're saying, but you're going to see something very interesting about that in that report that I'm going back to right now. So this is the report I was watching before, which seems a lot more neutral to me. That one just seemed to be like, yeah, let me try and push, like, let's try and like justify this for the French government.
But there's a lot.
This report, in contrast, seems a lot more dealing with like, okay, these are the facts we know so far.
More to the story. So today we'll find out how Telegram actually works, compare it to other encrypted messaging apps like Signal to find out if Telegram is good or evil. It is August 25th, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. Pavel Durov is Russian-born.
On the site that I'm watching this on now is, I never heard it before, called Fireship. Apparently it's got 3 million viewers. It's got 3 million subs. But yeah.
But he's also a citizen of the UAE in France. I don't know what his play was with becoming a French citizen, but it gave France the justification to arrest, imprison, and potentially guillotine him. But what did he actually do that was so bad? Well, according to the French, they're mad because of a, quote, lack of moderation and cooperation with law enforcement. In addition, Telegram's use of disposable phone numbers facilitates cryptocurrency transfers that cannot be monitored by authorities. And Telegram even...
Translation, we can't tax them. That's translation. Your encryption is preventing our ability to take our cut.
Has its own token that's been tanking after the arrest. It sounds a lot like the Silk Road, which got its founder Ross Ulbricht 2 life sentences without parole. But I've been a Telegram user for many years and have never personally seen any illegal activity take place there. It's just the only social platform you can get unfiltered.
And I've been on Telegram also for years. I keep getting added to different groups. I don't know why. I don't know how. I rarely peek in there. And when I do, it's really just clean out like notifications. And Turning Point USA uses Telegram as if like it's like every time Charlie Kirk, you know, is basically taking taking another snack break. He's like sending out like 6 posts on Telegram. That guy just it's relentless. It's relentless.
Uncensored information like the truth about wars and the shape of the planet without the mainstream narrative and infantile warning labels. But Telegram is not totally uncensored. If you download it from the Apple or Google app stores, they're required to censor a large amount of content. That's why you should only ever download it from telegram.org, and many of their applications are open sourced as well. But how do the authorities even know about all this illegal stuff if everything on Telegram is encrypted? Well, actually, most things that happen.
Okay, maybe you missed this, okay? That picture there, dog, right? Dog, old dog, new tricks. It's like, do you know how long it would take me to figure out how to use Rumble Studio? I would just be like, God. I was thinking about upgrading my camera, and I was like, I'm gonna need a new card, and like then installing that and trying to figure out how that's gonna work. I'm like, oh please, I can't. What are you asking? Oh, I'll save it for after Pablo.
And on Telegram are not encrypted. Well, encrypted, just not end-to-end encrypted. The most secure way to pass messages privately is to use end-to-end encryption, where the encryption and decryption happens on the user's device, as opposed to a centralized server not owned by the user. Even if the messages are stored in a centralized database, only the person with the key can read those messages, not the company hosting the database and not the authorities. The only way to read someone's messages is to physically hold them at gunpoint and make them open up their phone. This is how apps like Signal work, which has its own open source protocol and itself was recently banned in Russia. Now, Telegram does do end-to-end encryption for private chats, but everything else is public and encrypted on the server. And Telegram's...
I assume that everything else is like stuff like Charlie Kirk sending me stuff. That's what I assume it is.
Protocol has received a fair amount of criticism from security researchers in the past. The reason the feds hate Telegram, though, is because its infrastructure is intentionally distributed across multiple countries. That means if an agent wants your data, they'll need to coordinate with multiple different legal systems, and even if they bust down the door and take the hard drive in Iowa, the data will be encrypted with the key stored in some other random country like Durkistan. And the Durkistanis might not be too keen to help us out.
The Durkistanis. Durka. So such a great reference, the Durkistanis. That's a very funny reference that he just throws out there very dryly.
Because we've been bombing their country for the last 30 years. The authorities hate and help us out because we've been bombing. legal systems. And even if they bust down the door and take the hard drive in Iowa, the data will be encrypted with the key stored in some other random country like Durka-Durkistan. And the Durka-Durkistanis might not be too keen to help us out because we've been bombing their country for the last 30 years. The authorities hate encryption so much that in the EU, they're trying to make end-to-end encryption illegal. Ylva Johansson, aka Big Sister, is one of the figures behind this push, but so far it's been unsuccessful. Encryption is their kryptonite. Things like hate speech have already been criminalized in many parts of Europe and the UK, but if a big platform like Telegram doesn't cooperate, it becomes nearly impossible to enforce those laws. Well, one idea is to cut the head off the snake by arresting the CEO when he lands in his private jet and make him an offer he can't refuse. Either spend the next 20 years locked in a cage, or let us in the back door, then get back on your private jet and continue living your life as a prolific sperm donator. I don't know how things work in France, but the reality is that once the United States government goes after you, the chance of winning in court is less than 1%. That's why almost everyone in federal court pleads guilty. Even if you do win a case against the feds, like billionaire Mike Lynch did a few weeks ago, they'll just turn on HARP to summon a freak Sharknado to take you out while you celebrate on your yacht. Either that, or it was just a crazy coincidence. At this point, nobody knows.
I'm not sure what that reference is. I don't know the Mike Lynch story. Maybe some of you know it better than I do, but I'm unfamiliar with the Mike Lynch story.
What's going to happen to Pavel Durov, but we'll soon find out if he's ready to risk everything to become truly free. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Great breakdown there. I'm a fan. I became a fan. Good job, Fireship. Good job indeed. Please don't smack me around. Thank you. Anyway, in order to get a completely fleshed out report to you, though, I want you to hear from France's technology reporter, from a French technology reporter. So this way we get the scoop from inside France. And you see, I actually made it most of the way through this thing. So I did, and you will too. We'll make it. We'll make it. Because he's talking about the law in France and with respect and the yardsticks to help us better understand the justification for, or lack thereof, for arresting Pavel Durov.
Who's here on set with us.
We're going to have to play it a little slower for you all, because most of you all don't listen in high speed.
As a veteran technology reporter at Le Point magazine, and of course the face of Tech24 every Friday here on France 24 on the French channel. Thanks for being here, Guillaume.
Hello, Peter.
Your phone has not stopped going off this morning. Probably quite a rude awakening this summer. Now, tell me, do we know any more about why exactly Durov's been arrested?
Yeah, for now we are waiting for more conclusions. But at the end of what's happening to Pavel Durov, there is the Office chargé de la lutte contre les violences faites aux mineurs, Francis Hoffman, who's accusing Telegram of
some office is accusing Durov
having enough moderation concerning alleged offenses, including fraud, drug trafficking, cyberbullying, but also organized crime or promotion of terrorism. So we cannot know what's happening, but it's interesting to know that it's French authorities who are at the head of this investigation and not European Union, because Telegram, with only 42 million users in Europe, is not obliged to obey the Digital Services Act, the new European regulation.
So what he's referencing here is the EU has put out some Digital Services Act, which requires large internet companies to abide by certain regulations. For example, that I believe one of them that came up was the responsibility to enable people to like opt out and see what information is being collected on them. Once they cross that, I think that's part of the Digital Services Act of the EU. I know that definitely is in the EU, but I'm not sure if that's part of the Digital Services Act, and I'm loath to risk saying something that's factually inaccurate. So I'm telling you that's what I believe to be a part of it, because I was looking at that, although I remember that being something with a GDCP. So I'm not sure if they might have updated things recently with respect to that. But the point that he's getting at is that those regulations apply to companies that are slightly larger than Telegram. You have to have 45 million users in the EU. So it cannot be the EU, which is clamping down. Now, maybe the EU put pressure, and a lot of people speculate that the US government put pressure on France to go after Pavel and try and get him to give access to his back door. Guess they're looking to be child number 100. They're looking to have child number 101.
That forces all the big platforms to have more moderation in the future.
Yeah, that's right. 45 million users in the European Union is that threshold to fall under the Digital Services Act here. Now, Durov got French citizenship 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's obviously been quite it's obviously, looking at this, you must think it's got a complicated relationship with France.
Yeah, Pavel Durov was born in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. He spent lots of time in Italy when he was a young guy, but he's got this French citizenship. He spends most of his time in Dubai, but he has a house on the western side of Paris, and he's also being used by French very powerful people like the French president Emmanuel Macron, and lots of political parties who are using the Telegram channels that are very powerful to exchange images, video, but also he's got some complex relations with Moscow, with Russia, where he was born, because he was at the origin with his brother, for example, of VKontakte, which is considered as a Russian Facebook. And at the head of VKontakte in 2011, he resisted the FSB. He didn't want to share any information with the Russian authorities, but and for example, he protected Alexei Navalny then. But at the same time, some people say that he found an agreement with the Russian authorities. Otherwise, he would have been shot a long time ago.
Well, the Russian authorities wanted what's known as a back.
Okay, this is like the most succinct, great breakdown imaginable. My audience is amazing. You guys are phenomenal. This is great, Pixie. Mike Lynch sold his tech company to Hewlett Packard, faced fraud charges because the software is bad, beat the rap, celebrated on his yacht sank, he died, and sadly his children died as well. Wow. Yeah, that is very weird. Very, very weird. Now I'm very curious. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That's kind of But thank you, Pixie. That was a great breakdown.
Door into Telegram, from what I understand, to be able to see what was going on there.
Yeah.
Now we've seen quite a strong reaction then from Russia, but also from other people in the tech world over on the west coast of the US.
Yeah, we've seen a reaction from Elon Musk, the new head of X, Twitter, saying that it's a fight against freedom of speech, like arresting of Pavel Durov. But we've seen also reactions from figures of the Silicon Valley, like Paul Graham, at the head of the creator of Y Combinator, saying that it's hard to imagine a country both arresting the founder of Telegram and being a tech hub. So we have this debate like we see very often on the tech industry between the freedom of speech and the necessity to fight against the terrorism, for example, or child abuse. Some people say,
and it's like, and this is the way they frame it. It's like, they're like, oh, you always complain about child abuse, so like now why are you upset when they're trying to stop? Because we know that it's just a front. That's why no one buys it. No one buys it. That's what you're actually after. It always starts with something that's purportedly noble. No one wants to see children abused, obviously. So if you're standing in the way of that, they try and portray you as if you're some sort of, as if you're okay with children being abused. And it's like, no, those people are freaking monsters. But more monstrous is government tyranny. And it's not like this is like an app. That it's not like it's OnlyFans, where it's like, okay, when someone's a content creator on OnlyFans, you kind of figure what the agenda is. You don't have to like sit there and like, because it's geared for one type of thing. But any type of normal, healthy social media app is going to have some percentage of persons who are going to be abusing that for nefarious purposes. And the way to ferret them out is not to say, oh, everyone loses their privacy and we're just going to abandon all privacy. Just take your privacy and just shove it into some big trash dump, and we'll set that on fire. And just like everything that you ever share with anyone, every government agency in the world which says that they have some sort of interest because they want to be the good guys, that all of a sudden they have a right to just go browsing around through anything you ever write, because we know how that gets. It gets so frequently abused. Everyone's seen it.
Say that France is arresting Pavel Durov because it doesn't allow French authorities to spy on citizens. But I would say that it's very easy to spy on people. You can have software like Pegasus on every phone, so it's a little bit more complicated. But at the same time, it's also too easy maybe to say that Pavel Durov should be only arrested. It's like arresting the CEO of La Poste in France because you're gonna have some letters promoting terrorism or child abuse. So we have to find a real balance here. And if Pavel Durov is arrested, what we can guess, Peter, is it's going to be a very huge case, maybe as huge as the one we've seen with Edward Snowden, or more recently with all the figures that are being arrested, Julian Assange. And it's more like with Julian Assange, the freedom of informing people against the necessity to defend some US very key elements.
Yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on. Of course, we don't know how long he'll be detained for. We know he's going to court this Sunday in France. But as you say, perhaps if he's held for a long time, he could become another cause celeb. Thank you, Guillaume Gralet. And just to say to our viewers that the Tech 24 show comes back again this.
No one cares. Okay. So there you go. What are your thoughts? Now I look to you. If you're watching after the show, you're watching during the show, do you think that this is motivated by good basis, in good faith, or in bad faith? I mean, I wish I could believe good faith. I wish I could believe it. You were restricted on X 2 weeks ago thanks to socialist government. Now crime to criticize government. Yeah. It's pathetic. What are the ramifications of your? So the overall perspective of most people here seems to be pretty crappy faith. Completely lacking. People are not really buying it. Hey, Cool Frog. I know I haven't gotten back to you. It's because I don't like tying myself down to I need to be somewhere at a certain time. Every time I do, I feel like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I'm much happier to just sort of pop in and be like, here I am, because it happened to work out for me, and here I am. But I know that doesn't really work for content creators. I understand. That doesn't really work. You smell the U.S. State Department. That's what a lot of people are smelling. A lot of people are smelling that the U.S. pushed France into this. A lot of people are smelling that. Just so you know, it's not just you, Cool Frog, by the way. Just so you know, it's not just you. I was supposed to be at a wedding tonight, which I ended up not going to. Only because I forgot to coordinate as far as use of cars, and I ended up not having access to a car, and it was a 3-hour drive, and I was like, I'm never going to get there. I don't know when we come back here. I don't know where my car is. And I was like, yeah. So it's not just you. I just know that when reality, when rubber meets the road, I'm just like, so I have a good faith intent, and then just the follow through is rough. Mark my words, if Kamala steps one toe in the White House, censorship will be an all-time high, including bogus arrests. Oh yeah. I'm not going to kid you. I have concerns. They can find something to, we'll find I don't know what the hell. If you go back through my things, I don't know what the heck they're going to say. Oh, this is inciting violence. Some stupidity. You never know. And she certainly seems inclined to be as authoritarian as possible. But I want to talk with you about that's a perfect segue. Talking about Kamala and her authoritarian nature. How she claims she's going to be fighting for the little guy. You need to watch Chris Cuomo's coverage of there's a 2-minute and 49-second clip of Chris Cuomo talking about the DNC, which Jimmy Dore references. We're going to start with the actual full clip in its context. And Chris Cuomo, who a couple of years ago, no one would ever thought of him being someone exposing the ridiculousness of the DNC. And yet here we are today. What a couple of years will do.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging. Okay.
And they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the two sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you that has to be spoken to here, okay? These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need to be able to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand.
500 grand is what they start at. So when you're looking at the DNC, this is 500 grand. I don't know if that's for a week. I don't know if that's for a night. I don't know what the hell that is. But 500 grand, if it's for a night, you're talking about $2 million per suite. Even if it's just for the full week, you get the 500 grand. It's unbelievable.
You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on
laughing
the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take.
He's mad. He's not part of the Uniparty anymore. That's okay, though. That's okay because then you have an expose from an insider. Right?
Those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics. And I had my producer walk around and show you those suites. Now, they're not all the same. They're not all the same. But the reality is in 2000, they spent $300 million on presidential campaigns. 24 years later, you know what they're expected to spend? $10 billion. Do you know how much money Harris has raised in the last couple of weeks? Hundreds of millions. And that's success. A lot of it's small donor. A lot of it isn't.
Sweet.
The most dangerous money in politics is now legal money because of Citizens United. You've got to know this.
It's not because of Citizens United. There would be ways around it even without Citizens.
The idea that they can fight against it is almost laughable. It's almost laughable. So look and listen when you are told these things. Because I don't care what they promise you. Not here tonight, not at the RNC, not that Trump knows them, not that they don't own them. He did one of the biggest fundraisers I've ever heard of in my life out where I live. Millions of dollars a plate. That's the reality of politics.
So there you go. There you go. Chris Cuomo calling it out, and Jimmy Dore loves it. Loves it. Loves it. You don't trust Chris? I'll turn code as soon as he is. Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure he will. But those are fair points, as Jimmy Dore is about to point out.
This is amazing what's happening here.
I'm not sure if this is the right one. This might be him talking about RFK. But we'll see.
So this is amazing. They got a Kennedy. That the Democratic Party is so corrupt. The Democratic Party is so fascistic, so anti-democratic that they got Bobby Kennedy to endorse a Republican for president.
It's true. It's facts.
That's how bad the Democratic Party is. And they're in collusion with the corporate media. The Democratic Party is the establishment party now. And they're in bed with the media. And the media is covering for them. They told you Joe Biden was fine up until 5 minutes ago. They all lied to you. The media, I mean. They're all cheap fakes and this. You guys are conspiracy theorists. CNN is the liars. CNN is the conspiracy theorists. CNN are the evil. The MSNBC, the ABC News, the Washington Post, the New York Times. They're evil. And they're bought by the people who don't give a shit about you. It's all smoke and mirrors.
It is.
All of it. So this is groundbreaking what's happening in politics right now. These Republicans cheering a populist message that you would think was supposed to come from the Democratic Party, but it ain't.
Jimmy Dore is totally on the Trump chain. He's totally on the Trump train.
It's coming from the Republicans. Crazy. People are asking, am I really falling for this? What do you mean falling? What does that mean? Well, at least they're saying it. First of all, I certainly trust. The people are saying, can you trust what they're saying? I trust Bobby Kennedy, what he's saying.
See, this is the Bobby Kennedy effect. This is the Bobby Kennedy effect. Folks like this, classic liberals. Classic liberals. This is the Bobby Kennedy effect. The 3-hour drive would be a breeze if I had a Jeep. That's true. It would be a breeze. If only. If only I had a Jeep.
Certainly. I do. Trump didn't start any wars. He's the only president that didn't start any wars. And the deep state tried to kill him. So I made that point on Benny Johnson's show last night. You say what you want. They're not trying to kill Joe Biden. They're not trying to kill Kamala Harris. They are trying to kill Trump. And why is that? Because Trump has the naive idea that the president should control the intelligence community and the president should control the oh, hi, baby. And the president should control the military.
What?
That's what Trump thinks. So then you realize that no president has controlled the military since JFK. None of them. And Trump thought the president should. And that's why they're trying to kill him. So you can't deny that. So it's not about falling. What do you mean fall? I just saw a stadium full of Republicans cheering for environmental policy, cheering for freedom of speech, cheering for ending wars. Are you going to fall for that? You think all the people?
By the way, with respect to their efforts to harm Trump and or Bobby Jr., Biden-Harris administration withdraws Secret Service protection for RFK Jr. after he suspends his campaign and endorses Trump. They're not protecting him anymore. That's right. They're not protecting him anymore. Well, you're not a candidate anymore, so we're not going to protect you. Secret Service will no longer provide security, whatever level, whatever that's worth, whatever the Secret Service protection is worth, which is obviously far more suspect than it was when he first was asking for it. As of Sunday, after independent candidate announced he was suspending his presidential campaign, throwing his support for President Donald Trump, the New York Post reported. I don't think he's going to get killed between now and the election. To be fair, I don't think he will be, because I think that they probably worry that it would resonate too beneficially for Trump. Law enforcement sources told the Post on Sunday that Secret Service protection was ending after his bow out, and the agency later confirmed it. The Post said a rep for the agency told the outlet, quote, "That's correct. RFK Jr. is no longer receiving U.S. Secret Service protection." But let's catch the rest of this report here.
People in that crowd are lying? You don't think they're genuinely enthusiastic? Because they are. So that's a populist message. And now, if I had more time, I would go to show you the video that Glenn Greenwald did where he discussed the difference between Trump Republicans and establishment Republicans. And so there's I think this is very real. I think this is very real. And I think Trump is 70, 8 years old or whatever, and he wants to leave a legacy. And, the entire establishment loved Donald Trump up until he beat Hillary Clinton for president. Oprah encouraged him to run. She's like, you and I should run together. She loved him. Oprah loved him. The women of The View loved Donald Trump. NBC loved him. They gave him his own goddamn television show for over 10 years. They gave him Emmy nominations. The establishment loved Donald Trump. The Clintons used to go, Bill Clinton goes to go golfing with him. Their kids are best friends.
They used to like him until he turned against the establishment.
It was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton that encouraged Donald Trump to run for president in the first place. So it's nothing to fall for. And the Democratic Party is unbelievably undemocratic. That's why they have super donors, super delegates. Republicans don't have that. That's why they use lawfare against their political opponents. The Republicans aren't doing that. Donald Trump didn't go after Hillary Clinton. He didn't lock her up. He didn't do any of that shit. Yep. Guess who's doing that? Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Yep.
So there's nothing to fall for. I'm sticking my head down the street and I'm reporting back what I see. That's what's happening. I'm not falling for anything. I'm telling you what's happening. There's a stadium full of people cheering. I just came from a stadium full of people cheering for hatred, division, and for war. They're cheering for war. They're cheering the other way. Those people were cheering for mandates, and they're cheering for censorship, and they're cheering for war and division and hating your neighbor. I just came from a stadium full of people that did that all week. And now here's a stadium full of people doing the exact opposite.
Yep.
So there's nothing to fall for. These are just facts.
Yep, because the DNC is going to go after everyone on the other side of the aisle joyfully, because that was the theme of the DNC. It's all about the joy. It's all about the joy we have in throwing people we dislike in prison. It's a party of joy. It's such a joy.
This is
anyway. So people are weighing in here. That wasn't what I was looking for. Logical Mail is saying there was a great show on NBC called The Blacklist. I watched the first 2 seasons of that. That's with that guy who was a former agent who gets arrested. And he's one of the most wanted, and he has some sort of relationship with the daughter. I don't know if it's his daughter or it's not his daughter. I don't know. Some sort of relationship with some member of the CIA or something like that. And he's helping them find all the people on the blacklist or something like that. So I think it's 6 years ago I watched a season or 2 of it on Netflix until it just started feeling very repetitive. He's saying there's an episode of the character Raymond Reddington explaining to a group of journalists called the Cabal. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, I'll tell you this much. The actions they took with respect to their lawfare completely blew up in their face. There's no way on earth he would have gotten the easy path without debating, the easy path to the Republican presidential nomination, if not for the lawfare. The lawfare is what brought everyone out of the woodwork and saying, I'm supporting this guy. It was their lawfare which gave him just the quickest path possible. It was the stupidest thing in the world. And this is one of the reasons, people talk about how the Democrats are, thieving and corrupt and all this other stuff. And it's true. It's definitely true, but they're also inept. Just as they're inept in trying to come up with a good policy, they're inept in how to go after their opponents. They're also even somewhat inept with respect to cheating, just that their own viewers, their own subscribers are just like, no, we're totally cool with them cheating. And when they see it, when we try and whitewash it, we don't really see what we're seeing. It's the same folks who are happy to see buildings on fire and believe CNN saying fiery but mostly peaceful. You know, their base is all about, you know, accepting the narrative, like, you know, good little socialists. So yeah, the concept of it being self-fulfilling, I that's fairly apparent. Kamala, I'm patenting your Twitter DMs. Thank you so much. Let me see. I got one from Drop Barracuda already.
I will snatch their pack.
This is her from 2019.
I will snatch their patent so that we will take over. And yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. It's the question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
Look at those crazy eyes. Whoa. Look at those eyes. I have the will to do that proudly. Look at those crazy eyes. Look at those eyes. It's like, yes, my pretty. Oh, come here. It's like the witch throwing, you know, Hansel and Gretel into the pot. Oh my God.
Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. It's the question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
Wow. Wow. Is that the same thing? That's what Debbie shared with me. Is that the same thing that Drop Barracuda gave me? Let me just check it out real quick. Make sure I think it's the same. I think it's probably the same clip that Drop Barracuda gave me. Freaky.
So for any drug where they fail to play by our rules, and if that drug came about because of federal funding for what's called R&D, research and development, I will snatch their patent so that we will take over. And yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. It's the question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
Friggin' lunatic.
Yeah, that's socialism, is it not? In action, conservatives quick to react to this. Filmmaker Eric Abernante called Harris a dictator, saying, quote, "The party frightened about the threat to your democracy is nominating a wannabe tyrant." Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott put it more succinctly by saying this: "Well, this is crazy." I think he's right.
So for any drug
All right.
where they...
Wow. Meanwhile, let's talk about, while I'm covering RFK here and his impact, sort of go back and forth here. I wanted to share with you. Talks about Elon joining the administration as well. Check this out.
I read that Elon Musk said that he would accept a position in your cabinet. Would that have to do with artificial intelligence?
So
if
Elon
you chose
and I
him?
have a great relationship. He's great. He is a totally unusual character. Do you know Elon?
I don't.
He's great. And he's smart. And we have to cherish our geniuses. You know, we don't have too many of them, right? But he is a brilliant guy. And what he really would like to do is get involved in cutting some of the fat. And he does know how to do it. And he loves the country. You know, it's just an amazing thing. We had a conversation the other day. you would know better than me, but I hear it had hundreds of millions of people. I heard it had the biggest audience that there's ever been. I mean, would you say that's a correct
I
statement?
would absolutely say
There's
that's
never been
correct.
anything even close. I heard 7.
He's afraid of saying something that's gonna be taken out of. It's gonna be like taken like because his hyperboles are always like, "Oh, you're a liar! Fact check him! Fact check him!" He's like, "Would you agree with me that was the biggest?" And he's
150 million people. I mean, numbers that are crazy. And yeah, he wants to be involved. Now, look, he's running big businesses and all that, so he can't really, I don't think he'd be for cabinet. I'd put him in the cabinet, absolutely, but I don't know how he could do that with all the things he's got going. But he can sort of, as the expression goes, consult with the country and give you some very good ideas. Like on AI, there's nobody knows more about it than Elon.
Mhm.
It's a big, big thing. And he said it's very important. I mean, it's very important for the country. If we don't do it, China's going to do it, or somebody else, but most likely China. And China is working right now to develop massive electricity, a flood of electricity, a massive flood of electricity. And we don't, because we have people that they're not even thinking about that.
Yeah.
And we have to win this election. This election is going, November 5th will be the most important day, in my opinion, in the history of our country. Because if our country goes the wrong way with this election, I think this country is doomed.
So there you go. There you go. Looking to bring Elon in while recognizing that Elon probably doesn't have the time to have a full-time cabinet job, but looking to give him obviously significant say here. Someone mentioned Brett Weinstein, and I'm going to get to your chats in a moment, but someone mentioned Brett Weinstein. I actually have a clip here of Brett Weinstein. It's not talking about Cuomo like someone referenced earlier, but I think someone mentioned it earlier. Yeah, as Kimmy mentioned, system of gaslighting. So I just wanted to watch this with you real quick here, where Brett Weinstein, who's not or is not a conservative, he is not. He's a very smart guy. He's just not a conservative.
Does this cause a guy like you to be open to the idea of voting for Trump versus Kamala?
Oh, absolutely. Let me just be perfectly clear about this.
And this comes back to the whole RFK effect. This is all about the RFK effect, because you have the classic liberal intellectuals who are not part of the elites, who are it changes everything that RFK is now supporting Donald Trump, like Brett Weinstein.
I think the modern Democratic Party is an existential threat to the Republic. And although I am a Democrat, I've been a Democrat my whole life, the party that I see in front of me today is literally the inverse of the party I signed up for. This is an unbelievable thing. And he's another guy who's very influential, and he's always been a staunch Democrat, excoriating the Democrats here as basically being, no, you're full of crap. You're not what I signed up for. It's now the party of war. This is the party of racism. This is the party of censorship. I don't recognize this party. There is no conceivable scenario in which I would vote for Kamala Harris. I just simply will not do it. Am I open to voting for Trump? I am. I'm especially open to it if he is partnered with Bobby Kennedy, because what that tells me is that my values, which are a much closer match for Bobby's, are represented in that administration. And that's really what I want. I want a coalition to redefine American politics, because frankly, we have a long-standing problem with corruption, which has now turned into something else with the modern Democratic Party. But we need to rethink the way we govern ourselves so that corruption is not the dominant force, and a coalition is the way we're going to do that.
Yeah,
unbelievable. It's an unbelievable statement from Brett Weinstein. As I pointed out on X, think about like how different things are now that people never would have even imagined 8 months ago. I mean, just on the one hand, that we're facing off against Kamala, the least popular vice president to ever run for office in history, and Trump is not only riding the crest of an attempted assassination where he got up and had the most boss move of all time with his whole fight while literally staring down bullets. But he, he's getting support now from Tulsi Gabbard, support from DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Vivek, support from Elon Musk, support from RFK Jr., Brett Weinstein, Jimmy Dore. Heck, even Chris Cuomo sounded like he was like, I'm telling you right now, I'm really liking the way things are shaping up here. That this is just going to be way too much for them to overcompensate for. That, like, you know, we're looking at him potentially getting 90 million votes. And I think we're looking at him potentially. This is shaping up in ways, you know, it's always too early. You never want to, you know. There's a phrase that Jews have, apiskapela satan, which means don't open your mouth to Satan's ears. But yeah, this is just. We're looking at potentially something historic here. Did you see Jon Stewart make fun of the DNC? You should watch it. Ben Johnson had the 60-second clip. I saw it. He said he had Bernie Sanders up there in a clip saying like, we're like yelling about, you know, all the people who are supporting the other side, all the billionaires. He's like, you have Bernie Sanders up there yelling about all these rich billionaires, immediately followed by this guy. And they show J.B. Pritzker, a billionaire. Oh, he's a billionaire we like this billionaire. Yeah, he was going after them pretty hard. But I know from history that Jon Stewart's team there is basically like, you know, fascist central. So for all the clever humor from Jon Stewart, if you actually show like 6 seconds of his face, someone like it's like you're sitting there and you're like, I'll be watching the show and all of a sudden I'll just hear like, get in there. Hey, shut it down. So yeah, I just don't need it. I don't need it. But yeah, it was a good clip. Thank you, Jackie. I have never seen a government agency move on anything so quickly. They did some protections from RFK Jr. I know. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how fast? It's like you would think it would, you know, the order would come through like, you know, a week later. No. Oh, you spend it? Boom. Out. Ice. You had to fight for the last 9 months to get it. And now it's gone. We gave it to you like 2 weeks ago because they only gave it to me after July 13th. Right? They gave it to him the same time that they were upping Trump's protection. That's when they first gave him the Secret Service protection. He was screaming for it. And then as soon as he suspends his race, all of a sudden he's not in jeopardy anymore. What an embarrassment the DNC is. Strength through joy was subset of 1940 Germany. That's true. I was talking about this with that it was part of the Adolf Youth. This is true. Dems may be inept, but they are far superior when it comes to messaging and sticking to the message. Republicans need to learn message discipline. Okay, that's true. One side is snatching patents, others padding. That's definitely not English. If drug maker gets U.S. grant, should they have exclusive patent for research produced under that grant? This is an interesting question. So I've addressed this before. What the context which Kamala was talking about was she said that we should snatch those patents away because we funded it. Which definitely sounds very socialistic, just like, you know, let's just take whatever we want because we're the government and we can. So why not? Definitely seems like potential violation of, you know, of takings clause. I'll tell you this much. I do think that it should be built in contractually that when grants are given for R&D, that if indeed you're successful and you reach certain thresholds, that at that point, with respect to your success, that at that point, your grant research should come back to the government. Those monies, you know, should be looked at as being an investment. I think that would make sense. But to take the patent away, no, that doesn't make any sense. But to say that there should be repayment, if in fact the investment in you pans out with perhaps some sort of interest attached in favor of the government, yeah, that I can understand. That I can understand. Same way they would if there was a private investor. Brett has been working hard since 2019 to end the Uniparty by building coalition consensus to end the Uniparty stranglehold. This is not new. Okay. Well, it is new that he's that he's recognizing that coalition in the Republican Party, though. That's new. Cat Randall, new member and gifting. I'm going to give you one of these just because I appreciate people giving. God bless you, Cat Randall. Welcome to the following. The following is not your parents' kind of cult. And I am not the leader of the following. I just want to get that clear. Get that off my chest. There's a lot of people that make that mistake. A lot of people, I don't know why. I've tried walking people through it. Anyway, so developments with respect to RFK, whether it's the developments of RFK or just some overflow from Democrat excitement or just Democrats being Democrats. Here's Alex Cole. Very, very excited. Very excited Alex Cole. Such a loser. Literally gaslights every tweet. I don't know who is he, like supposedly Republican? Oh, he's progressive. I've spoken with this guy. This is such a bad faith actor. See, he literally just full of crap.
We are one of the groups for the.
This is him very excited about Tennessee. Listen to his excitement. Listen, this is what he's sharing about a Kamala rally in Tennessee. Tennessee! Oh, Tennessee's totally going Kamala. Totally. Along with Texas.
Y'all, we are down here on Market Square in Knoxville, Tennessee.
All women.
We are one of the groups for the statewide Kamala kickoff rally tonight. We are excited. We're out in Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis. It's not too late. Program's not starting until 6. We're still getting set up. Man, people are so fired up about Kamala. They've come out early in August to an event. Yay! Y'all need to get up and do something.
You want to know why? I can tell you with a 1,000% guarantee that Kamala is not going to win Tennessee. It's the same reason I can tell you that whoever the Democratic nominee is in 2028 will not win Tennessee. And you want to know what that is? You want to know why I'm so confident? In fact, I'm confident that the Democratic nominee, and I obviously have no idea who that person is, will be in 2032, and they're not going to win Tennessee. You want to know why I know that? I'll tell you why I know that. The reason I know that is because Tennessee is one of the few states in the country which is intelligent enough to mandate photo ID for voting. That's right. You have to provide photo ID for voting. So go ahead, waste your money away trying to win Tennessee. Waste away all your efforts there that you're going to get Tennessee. You got it. Just keep going. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. So my father, who people popularly refer to as Great Lawgic, called me up because he's been on the show a few times. If you're new, you might not have seen it. You haven't seen him in a while. He's only been on like once or twice in the last year. But my dad called me up last night. And he's like, when I turn on your video, I get an ad in the beginning. And I got Barack Obama telling me I should be donating to Kamala Harris right in front of your video. He's like, did you know? And I was like, get out of here. He's like, no, really. That's what they're giving me. That's what they're pumping in front of watching. Before you watch Good Lawgic, here's Barack Obama with a message about how you need to support Kamala Harris. I was laughing, and I thought it was so funny that I went over to my wife and I was like, did you know that my father was telling me that when he pulled up a video to watch an episode, that he got this advertisement with Barack Obama telling him that he needs to support Kamala Harris today? Like, let's do it. Let's support Kamala Harris. And as I was saying it, she goes, an advertisement for Kamala, right? So I was like, yeah. How did you? She's like, I get the same thing. Every time I try watching a video of yours, they get advertisements of Barack Obama telling that they need to support Kamala Harris. I thought this was the funniest thing in the world. To me, I just want to say this. If you're watching Team Harris, if you're watching, this is the right show for you to invest in. You should be demanding that every advertisement I insert in here, that you should be making sure to give that message to my viewers, because my viewers really want to hear from Barack Obama. They want to hear all about how important this election is and the necessity for them to invest in the Harris administration, because we know democracy is on the line here. And the decency is on the line. Joy is on the line. We know all of that. And you need to keep promoting and pimping and spending all of your campaign funds right here. That's where you're going to have tremendous success. I told Lady Lawgic, I was like, no, I want to see that, because that means they're wasting their money. How many of my viewers, how much money do you think that they're possibly going to get from my audience? I dare say, if I had 20 million views between now and election day, and they were pimping every single one of them, I dare say they would not get back $50 from my audience. A handful of people who watch me are Democrats. I know that. And there's a few of you out there who are sufficiently intelligent to actually try, listening to the other side and recognizing that I approach with good faith. But the point is that how much money are you squeezing from that small percentage of my audience? My God, I was like, oh, I hope they spend every penny on me. I hope they do. That'd be amazing. I thought that was hilarious. Any of you getting that? One second. Melting here. All right. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. You don't click the link. What are you doing on YouTube, Jacob? What are you doing on YouTube? Obviously, they should keep. If they keep doing it, people will be supporting the Democrats. Don't underestimate Cat Laser. I won't. YouTube Premium Family, use Skinflint. I YouTube for myself. It's a business expense. Hello. If I start spending it on the family, how do I write that up as a business expense? Did you think it through? Did you think it through like a Jew? Seriously. Because I'm thinking you really didn't. Let me explain. You need to understand. If you want to go through my mindset, you need to think it through properly. Here, this is how you should be thinking it through. Okay. Baby, don't hurt me. I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so funny. Unbelievable. There you go. I had to share that with you all. We're getting into meme time here, but there's a few. Wait, what did I have here? Before I get to memes, that was one of the memes, but Do a live stream of getting to a wedding, then write off the car. That's not how it works. That's how you get it. That's how you get investigated. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Kamala's America here. Let's talk about Kamala's America here. This is a Biden administration right here. I covered a story about Aurora, Colorado. I was trying to figure out what the hell's happening with those MS-13 gangs down there. And I got a little bit of it more fleshed out for me. In case you're living in Aurora, Colorado, you know, sanctuary location, Colorado. Check out this story. This is just freaky.
So you guys keeping up with what's going on in Denver,
Yeah.
Aurora, Colorado? I have friends there actually that are leaving. They hightailed it out of there. They're not taking the chance to see if it gets better. It only took 2 apartment complexes and 3 gun stores getting robbed and jewelry stores.
3 gun stores. So now they're armed. Awesome.
By these Venezuelan gangs who have now paired up with MS-13, and they're gone. They're not waiting around. The cops couldn't do anything. The FBI couldn't do anything. Homeland Security didn't do anything. You know, one of the complexes
coming soon to a small town near you.
This was taken back and condemned because it's inhabitable. And the people, the Venezuelan gang, was collecting money, the rent money, for the landlord, but not giving it to him. And there was nothing he could do about it. They just took over. Those are your sanctuary cities that you love so much. And you're mad at us, patriots, who are like, close the damn border. You know, they did rob 3 gun stores and a couple jewelry stores. And now the new thing is they're dressed up like Amazon workers and they're doing home invasions.
Awesome.
So guys, be very careful, because the closer we get to this election, if you're expecting an Amazon delivery, just leave it outside for a little bit. And if you have to open the door, really check your surroundings, because they're bum rushing the doors. Just be very, 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 very careful. Dangerous times, guys. It's bad.
So there you go. Serious times. But here's one person who wants to. Here's a bunch of folk who think that we need to like really address what's going on. What's going on with the racism that is just pervading our country, and what we white people can do to fix it. Because this is, you know, Biden's America, Kamala's America, right here. Check out this little meeting of the minds. This meeting of the minds.
I used to be a white woman, an unsuccessful one, for many decades, and it was a miserable experience. And really, the hatred of yourselves and each other is like the not seeing your power, the being afraid. Like all you do is talk shit about each other, talk shit about yourself. Oh my God, I'm so fat.
That's all they do. I'm telling you, these white women.
But that's it. It's I'm so fat, I'm so stupid, I'm blah blah blah.
Sorry.
Your kids are watching you, and they're watching you talking shit about each other, you know, raging against the machine or being silent or whatever the hell it is that you're doing or not doing. And they know that you're not doing shit for them.
I'm going to be really mad if Daily Wire hits me on this one. If they do, I'm going to spend 10 minutes blasting them tomorrow. I'm going to spend 10 minutes blasting them.
So important. That is so important what you just said. It's really important. That's all.
You may have to add you to our team.
Oh, I would love to take a seat and join you.
No, you're not allowed to.
No, you're not allowed to.
Definitely not
No, you're not. No, definitely not. Yeah, the black woman is like totally fine. Like, let's let him in. No men. Definitely not.
Okay, I do have my DEI certification that I got.
Okay.
So, not saying I'm an expert, but I'm also not a novice. So, okay.
White people are starved for these conversations.
We are. We're so starving.
Yeah.
We are so starving for this.
Anyone else want to say anything?
I'll just say one thing. I'm so glad we can have these conversations, and I'll be done. But I'm just so glad that we could all get together to have these conversations That's all I wanted to say.
Is he an actor? Are you
No.
an actor?
Oh,
Can
no.
you let us? We're trying to listen and trying to have this conversation.
Okay, you know, we're all acting all the time in our lives, and I think that that's part of the problem. You know, that it's like we're all trying to play a part rather than just being real and having these uncomfortable conversations. And that's what I'm always trying to tell people.
It's actually speaking truth. He is always telling people that.
Especially, you know, white women. No offense, but
No,
so-
but see, like you're a white dude. There's power positions, and you know, it's pointing white people pointing fingers at each other is not helpful.
You know, I've been on this journey for so long, and just to see you guys at the table having this conversation has been really enlightening for me.
Just like subtly says.
Anyway, I got the DEI certification, and I'm just on the journey. All right, you ladies have a great night.
Decolonize yourself. Do your own white supremacy dismantling, and then you can start to bring in other people.
Can I just say one last thing? Can I just propose a toast? I mean, just raise a glass if you're racist, and that's the thing.
Cheers. Oh, I'm not racist. Let me
To
go my
racist, well,
glass.
all the rest of it. To racist.
Am I Racist? Rated PG-13. Buy tickets now.
So there you go. To racists. That's funny. That's pretty funny. To racists. That's pretty funny. So there you go. That was Matt Walsh with his new Am I Racist movie. Anyway, let's talk more about the way the media is trying to deal with Kamala and how desperate they are to try and sweep for Kamala. So I found this post here which points out we are witnessing one of the most heavily coordinated gaslighting campaigns that the MSM has ever tried putting together. Kamala never wanted to abolish ICE, never wanted to defund the police. Kamala never sent parents to jail for truancy, on and on, rewriting her history. On truancy, kids missing school for no legal reason. When Kamala was DA of San Francisco, she started a program to prosecute parents for truancy. She sent out letters and even set up hotlines for parents to snitch on each other. She fined people, but she didn't send people to jail. But it wasn't an actual law at the time with jail as a punishment. That didn't stop her from continually threatening parents with jail time. In 2010, she made a centerpiece of her campaign for Attorney General the creation of a statewide law based on her truancy program as DA. The video of her giggling about prosecuting parents for truancy was from 2010. She pushed so hard that her truancy program became state law, now carrying the real threat of jail. When she became AG, DAs around California started prosecuting parents for truancy. But you will now hear her in unison, MSM saying Kamala never sent parents to jail for their kids' truancy. Technically true, yes. She wasn't the DA that actually did the prosecuting. Other DAs did it based on a law Kamala championed, and they did it while Kamala was Attorney General. It was something that Kamala continually bragged about during her time as AG. And here they are in 2019 versus 2024. This is unbelievable. 2019.
One of the programs that she started on truancy, which is what a lot of people have been hitting my Twitter feed about, how, you know, that program, from their criticism is it separated Black children from their families. She talks about the fact that, you know, yeah, there were a lot of tough decisions that were made, but I stand by them. She's going to have to talk about that more fully. Kamala Harris never sent parents to jail for their kids' truancy. One of the programs.
Unbelievable. They're so terrified. They're so terrified. Sweep. Is it carrying water? Is it working? On some Democrats it certainly is, but certainly not on all of them. Check out this woman here, longtime Democrat supporter, white woman, believe it or not. We see lots of black women walking away, but here's a white woman talking about it.
Okay, I'm going to get real in this, and it's probably going to piss some people off, but I'm okay with that, because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer, and when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more and more disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now, I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes. And I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns.
I picture this woman as a classic Jimmy Dore viewer. That's what I picture her as.
And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on. Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls. They still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values. When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out-of-touch people in the entire world.
Oh, but I thought it was such a big party. It was all about joy. Didn't you feel the joy? Where was the joy?
It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection.
Okay, I need to just pause right now. Are you guys familiar with this phrase, like brat? Like what the hell that means even? Brat? That it like, has like some sort of meaning? Like brat? Do it, and no Googling. I don't want y'all cheating. No, some of you are going to cheat. No cheating, okay? So I'm putting a poll here. Do you know what brat means? I don't still, but maybe some of you, do you know what? Okay, you're not helping me, Bad Coffee. I'm making a poll. It means Barbie, Brat Summer Joe, cutesy and demure. Snotty kid. I know what brats are. I even know that there's this whole doll cartoon thing called Brats with a Z. I don't think that's what they mean. Rachel Hope, new YouTube. Welcome to the following, Rachel. Please understand the following is not, just call the following. And a lot of people have told me that that's the name of some sort of horror movie from the 60s or something. It's not at all a cult type of cult. It's in no way, shape, or form a cult type. I just type of cult. And everyone, it's very easy to get confused. It's very, you're not part. Trust me, everything's cool. Everything is not at all your parents' type of cult. Trust me, it's not. It's not. She almost said, "Do your own research," almost, but then she realized her audience doesn't know what that means. It's a 4-letter research is a 4-letter word. I tried to decolonize my mind, but it started spilling all the tea, yelling, "No vexation, no pig, no pigmentation." That's pretty good. I don't even know what this means, Charlie XCX. What is Charlie 90? That's not even the number XCX. That's not a Roman numeral. I don't know what this means.
Into real America, or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech, and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world? I thought I was part of the anti-war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now. How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he is absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever.
Our tent is growing bigly. Bigly.
I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president.
Of course you can't.
I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore.
There you go.
I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her. And for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's how it starts. Silver play button, Kamala. Do I need to unsub again? It's funny you asked me that. Someone else asked me that just earlier today. I have not gotten the silver play button as of yet, but I figured I was actually going to make the request for it like in the next couple of days. I haven't even checked to see whether or not. When the last time I looked, they said you don't yet qualify yet because you don't have enough subs, and I was just like, dude, I got 102,000. Of course, back then I had 102,000. Now I'm on 101,900 because YouTube sucks. But I'm assuming by now they recognize that I did cross that 100,000 threshold. But I plan on requesting it from them in the next couple of days and hopefully have it next week. As Bob Barker say, remember to spay and neuter your temper. He did not say that. He did not say that. He did. He was big on spaying dogs. Anyway, couple of funny things I wanted to share with y'all here. A couple of funny things. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is
you know what they do? Funny. They take your money. They say
this was shared. This was shared with me as in like this is what real democracy is. The Democrats always scream about democracy. This is real democracy.
Since Democrats didn't talk about Kamala's horrendous record last night, we will. For nearly 4 years, comrade Kamala Harris. I use that term. I don't know, but it's good. Is it good or not? Tell me. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. I love these free polls. Instead of spending $250,000 to a pollster that doesn't even poll, you know what they do? They take your money. They say, let's see. All right, 49 to 50. Well, no, It's one of the greatest businesses in history. I get a free poll here. Do you like the name? She's a radical left lunatic, okay? She's a defender of the police. She wants to defund all the things that we talk about. Do I call her Comrade Kamala Harris or do I not? Ready? Ready? What do I do there? You tell me. You could tell me better than anybody. Okay, ready? I'll say yes or no. Yes. No. Comrade Kamala Harris.
There you go. That's democracy right there. That's democracy in action right there. There you go. But it's weird.
We're in the middle of.
This wasn't even sent to me as a joke. I just started laughing because she's so bad. She's so bad. Even at stuff that you would think she has memorized by now. Listen to Kamala Harris here. You wonder why she's got no chance. Listen to this woman.
We're in the middle of a crisis caused by this pandemic that is a public health crisis. We're looking at over 220 million Americans who just in the last several months died.
220 million? 220 million. Okay, you know what? Maybe she just misspoke. You know, that happens. Sometimes people that happens to people.
Midst of a public health epidemic that has taken the lives of over 220 million Americans in just the last several months.
We're in the middle of a crisis caused by.
Unbelievable. So stupid. Oh, I agree with you on this. The Republican Party is that. There is only that now. 100%. All right. I'm going to share with you 3 things that made me laugh, and then we're going to get on out of here because I got stuff. I got to get up early tomorrow morning. So, 3 things that made me laugh. They're a little bit long anyway. So, 3 things that made me laugh. The first one is like the least funny. They're in order of increasing humor, in my opinion, and each of them are at least 3 minutes long. So, don't worry, I'm not leaving like the next 20 seconds or so, because these are each at least 3 minutes long. All right. This is an old meme, but a good one, and constantly being updated. This is okay. It's okay, but it's worth a look-see. It's worth a look-see. You know it already. You can just see like, okay, the subtitles. You see the SS uniforms. You know where this is going. You know, you're like, oh, okay. If only, yeah, if only 200 million people. All right. You know where this is going, right? I mean, you have to know. I mean, literally, the guy just like signed up 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And they're ready. He got the translation with Stalin, with him screaming about Stalin. I think that's to me. I was like, all right, that's well played here. So there you go. That one was pretty good. It was pretty good. I got 2 more for you. Oh, that was pretty good. I've seen a lot of those Adolf rant memes. I've never heard of this guy, but Elon turned me on to him. Champagne Joshi. This is really wow. Well, here we go. Will I share the link for that? Okay, let me do it now. Okay, let me do it now before I forget. I'll share the link. I'm going to share it on Locals, goodlogic.locals.com. I'm going to share it underneath my stream link in the first comment there. Okay, I'll share each of these one by one. I also want to mention while I'm looking at this, by the way, we have enough people for a fantasy football league, but I still have up to one more spot. I don't know, 1 or 2 more spots. I'm planning on having the draft 1 week from today. 1 week from today. I'd like to start like at 7 p.m. Eastern time. 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to ask those of you who have not yet signed up or asked me to sign up, and no one's paid yet. I know that. I'm going to tell you to pay me. You can pay me through PayPal or Venmo. It's $100. The money all gets spit back one way or another. So the only way I make money off of this thing is if, in fact, I win, which I did last year. But, yeah. So I pinned it. It's the top of locals. First thing you're going to come across is FFL sign up. If you want a spot, I have like up to 1 more spot left. And then depending on it, I might have additional spots if in fact people cannot make it to the draft when I'm scheduling it for. If a whole bunch of people say that the time sucks, maybe I'll adjust it. But I am looking at having it 1 week from today, which will be like Sunday, September. When I say today, I mean Sunday. That's first and foremost, because I still think of being Sunday, technically in my time zone it's Monday. So that'd be the 1st. Sunday the 1st. So that will be 1 week from today, fantasy football. And yeah, the sign up costs $100 and you can win. I think I end up splitting it. How did I split it last time? I gotta go back and figure out how we split the money. But basically, I end up splitting. I give the entrance fee back to whoever scores the most points. This way, in case if you have a great season and you don't end up making it in, and you don't end up winning the whole thing, at least you got your entrance fee back. And then the rest of it, I split 2/3, 1/3 between the winner of the Super Bowl and the loser. The balance of that, I split 2/3, 1/3. So that's the way the money gets split up. If you're interested in participating and competing against me and other diggers in locals, so you have to be a locals member. That's a good Lawgic.locals.com. You have to be a subscribed member. And yeah, I urge you guys to check it out. And I plan starting tomorrow on telling people to kick in their $100. But I think we have enough people. So we're going to be moving forward on that. Again, that's pinned there. Let me take care of sharing that link and as the first comment there. Okay, so this is the Hitler. I don't like that link. I don't know if that link's going to work right. So let me find a better one because this one has a lot of letters behind it, which is there's a lot of letters. It's never going to work well. All right, let's go to the next one. Do you think Trump will be able to completely clean house if when he wins there will be riots? I don't think completely, but I think he'll clear out a lot of the rot. There's no getting out completely. I mean, even ivory soap is 99.44, and I don't think he's going to reach that. So, but it's certainly a lot cleaner than it looks now. All right, this was Champagne Josh. I wanted to share this one with you next. Check out how insane some of these Democrats are, especially this first woman. This is how desperate these losers are. Like, it's so brainwashed as far as like what healthy morals are.
Would you rather have a democracy or access to abortions?
Look at the wood burning in that tiny little brain of hers. Look at the look on her face. The deep thought here.
Either or.
Either or.
I feel like that's a very tough question to answer. I feel like
That's a very tough question. That's a tough one.
that's almost not possible to answer. I feel like
It's not how can anyone be expected to choose between sacrificing one of those? That's crazy.
I couldn't pick one or the other.
I couldn't. How can anyone pick one or the other? How can anyone pick that? It's like I had to lose one.
If you had to choose,
I had to choose.
can we get a final answer? I know it's hard.
I guess access to abortions.
So they put brat over her. I don't know what brat means. I don't know what brat means. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. But what a lunatic. I mean, I'm totally fine with tyranny as long as I can get abortions. Like, what a loser. You're like a complete and total loser. This is, she's the thinker there. What a loser.
It's Brat Summer. The queen of the brats has arrived. Yes, queen.
What does that mean? None of you know. None of you know. You say you know. Brat still means what it always meant? No, it's not. That's the worst answer possible. Seriously. It's not overrated. Everyone knows it's stupid.
Do not come.
Are you as hard as I am right now? She's something special. Can we please, this year, it'd be so brat, have a higher tax rate for rich white men?
Well, if we have a Democratic Congress, we certainly will.
Yeah, babe.
What? What the hell, Jerry Nadler? Oh, yeah, we'll have a higher tax for rich white men. Yeah. Exclusively for rich white men.
Tax those rich old whiteys. Come on. Are you worried Donald Trump's going to weaponize the justice system if he gets in power?
I'm concerned
He's going to weaponize it. He's going to weaponize it.
about Project 2025. And it's important that individuals understand that Project 2025 basically consolidates power in the hands of one dangerous man.
Yeah.
And this is coming from one dangerous woman.
And so it's really critically
Start
important.
prosecuting his political enemies.
Exactly.
Guys, I have to say, you are even more beautiful in person.
Oh, I love him. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Give me your best pickup line.
He calls him Chris Fredo Cuomo. That's kind of mean. He calls him Andrew's brother. What's his title? Andrew's brother. That is harsh. That is harsh, Champagne Joshy. That is really harsh. Oh my gosh.
My best pickup line. I'll pay. Who are the cuties in the Democratic Party that are speaking?
Oh, I don't know. Talk to anyone who lives in D.C. It's hard to find a cute Democrat.
Surprise, surprise.
Oh my God, shots fired.
No, that's the tea. Ask anyone who lives in D.C. and who works in Democratic politics. It's hard to.
And this is your classic. This woman needs to subscribe to Home Math, because this is classic woman who's like a 5, who like basically is sitting there thinking that she's worth, a high value man, as Home Math puts it. And no, you're not bringing anything that they actually want. So she is destined to become part of the 44%, which they say by 2030 are 45% that are going to be single and childless.
To find the cute ones.
The Republican guys are hotter.
Yeah, but they're evil. So I don't know.
We kind of love evil. Oh my God.
I feel like
You are so bad. It's time to call the.
What I like about this guy is he's so good. I've never even heard of him before this weekend. I just discovered him now, but he's great. He is great. He's like the perfect one for this is perfect trolling. This is perfect trolling.
The red carpet, the blue carpet, because the conservatives have literally no cool famous people. What do you eat after a long day at Congress? Did you get your vasectomy yet?
No.
Oh, it's gonna be a wild weekend, baby. Tim Walz has the best shot in Congress.
Look what they label. The labels are the best parts. Look at the label. There's Pete Buttigieg. I didn't even notice that in the first view through.
Oh, it's gonna be a wild weekend, baby.
Pete Buttigieg, bus driver. Oh my God, that's lethal. Pete Buttigieg, bus driver. That is so good. That is so good.
Tim Walz has the best shot in Congress. Who has the best back shot? One final game. Yes, queen or no queen?
Harry Sisson, CCP propaganda. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed all the labels. Oh my gosh, the labels are the best. Harry Sisson, CCP.
Game. Yes, queen or no queen? Okay.
I'll give you a yes or no. How about that?
Okay.
Amazing.
Can you do yes, queen or no queen? Or
I can't do that.
Oh, really? Free abortions.
Yes, queen.
Free gender affirming care for migrants.
Yes, queen.
Child tax credits for dogs.
Yes, queen.
Ban standardized testing.
Yes, queen.
Ban standardized.
Oh yeah, like my ADD is so crazy. Get rid of those things, please.
Yes, queen. Yeah.
Amazing. Different tax rate for white men.
Yes, queen.
Different tax rate for white men.
Amen, sister. Love you. Love her energy. She's a yes queener. My girlfriend needs to get an abortion. Could you help me cover it up?
Corn producer. I don't even know what that means. What does corn producer mean? Do you guys know what corn producer means? What does that mean? Corn producer. And it is because I don't know if he's actually gay or he's just playing a gay dude, but is that what it means? Corn is just like it's a flip of the CP.
Please, I need help. I need to do it like discreet way. Oh, asshole. Romeo, where for out there, Romeo?
Sorry.
Romeo, where for out there, Romeo?
Production assistant. That's not fair for J.J. Abrams.
Who do you think has a bigger lightsaber, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
I mean, come on. Really?
What's the best way a guy could approach you?
Approach me, I guess, with
Who? Oh, the Conway family.
the microphone and a couple of a seersucker suit, a microphone, and my daughter.
Could I be a good stepdad? So some Gen Z doubters of Kamala have noted her record persecuting people for weed. I'm a stoner. I use it for PTSD. Do you think that era is so over? She's so over that?
I think that even in the period of the Biden-Harris administration, they have been working very hard in order to say no.
What about like Coke and stuff?
Excuse me?
What about like Coke?
And her, I would have to look at it, but
Decriminalize the drugs, baby.
Thank you, sir.
Coke for the boys.
Thank you.
Another old white guy, am I right? Is Kamala so us?
She's so us because she's brat. Kamala
Yeah,
is brat.
She is so brat. What does brat mean?
Brat is like you're like a party girl, but like you go out at really late at night and like you fall asleep with all your makeup on. And
I mean,
That cannot be the actual definition that they're using it. That cannot be.
I have to love Kamala being in a menage a trois at one point. Brat Summer. Get the best Kamala laugh ever.
Oh my God, she has the best laugh.
Joy. We love joy. We're all about joy.
Go
Okay,
Kamala.
how do we guarantee equity of joy?
Equity of joy will flow forth from Kamala.
It's just a given and part of her.
Oh, we are manifesting. People say vibes don't matter, but we are manifesting our nation.
It to you.
Oh, we have a woman of color, and we also have Tim Walz. What a great example for the body positive community.
Tim Walz, the body positive community. Tim Walz.
What do you think Tim Walz can be as an inspiration for body positive people?
A young man came to him and said, we want to have a gay club here at our high school. And he said, I'm going to lead that because I need to be.
He's like a gay leader.
Surprise, he's here. Happiness.
That was so good. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know how many followers he's got, but he needs more. He needs more. All right. Well, I'll share the link for that too. Give me a second. Let me share the link over in Locals. Over in Locals, goodlogic.locals.com. I gotta see.
Would you rather have a democracy?
Let me see if I can find a cleaner link than the one I used. Because when I copy and paste the link in here, it gets all these weird letters. It becomes like, instead of like, just becomes like 40 times as long as it initially was. But I thank you, Elon, for alerting me to Champagne Joshi. I'm not seeing it in the original link that I have. Let me try it this way. Let's see if I have to. Let's see if I can do it this way. Give me a moment. So I'm going to take care of people. All right. No, it's this whole long stupid link. I don't know if those long links work. Depends if you do. Maybe I do it this way. I don't know. I have an idea. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, last one of the evening. This to me won the weekend. If you're wondering which one won the weekend for me, it was this one for Mr. Reagan. This was, to me, this was great. This one just had me laughing out loud from the jump. I don't know why. I love these conversation things. I love the conversation one. This one was great. Conversation between Tim Walz and Kamala Harris.
Hi, this is Tim.
It's Kamala Harris. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Madam Vice President.
Listen, you weren't my first choice. To be honest, you weren't even in my top 10. But no one else wants to run as my VP because they all know I'm going to lose. You are.
This is. We can start.
The only one who is willing to be my running mate.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically career suicide. But I did some dumb shit a few years back, and now I'm totally controlled by the deep state. And so they told me either I become your running mate or I get Epstein in a New York prison.
Now, the fact that we're both radical communists is a slight problem, but I got some instructions from Big Daddy Barack. Basically, we're going to pretend that you're a normal American white guy. There's a bunch of things you did that we got to run away from here. You passed a law requiring tampons in the boys' bathroom in schools. You basically cheered on the George Floyd rioters who burned down your cities. You implemented a snitch hotline during COVID. And Tim, you signed a law that allows the state to take custody of children if their parents refuse to let them transition. I mean, what the Tim? We got a lot of cleanup to do here. But listen, we already got the mainstream media gaslighting America into thinking that you're super normal.
This is America's dad, America's football coach, and the teacher that's cool enough without trying to be cool.
A lot of people have noticed this sort of down-to-earth, likable.
How is that not a frog face? I don't understand.
Quality to him.
It's very moderate in Congress.
Very moderate.
Democrat, a centrist, but a more centrist.
Kind of a centrist Midwesterner in persona.
That's pretty funny because I'm weird as f.
Americans are dumb, Tim. They'll believe anything we tell them.
They are so dumb, right?
They think I'm black. Okay, so here's the plan. In order to hide your own weirdness, we want you to accuse Trump and J.D. Vance of being weird. Just say it over and over again.
Weird. And then they start being weird. They're weird. Donald Trump's weirdness. Very weird. It's just too weird. Weird. Okay, so how far left are we admitting to being here? Like, are we openly woke?
We have to stay woke. Like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
Yeah.
You know, so like during that clip there, she's like the only one laughing. Everyone's like sort of looking at her like, what the hell are you saying?
No. We're flip-flopping on everything right now. We want to keep the voters confused. You know when your GPS suddenly starts rerouting inexplicably and you have no idea where you're going and you're afraid your GPS might just drive you off a cliff? We're exactly like that.
What do we say if reporters ask us about policy stuff?
Oh, we're not taking questions from reporters, Tim. We're not prepared for that. But if you do find yourself in a tricky spot with a reporter, just cackle.
Cackle.
Yeah, cackle.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
Yeah. And is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
no. Like, what do you want to know?
Wow, that's horrifying.
Exactly. It's horrifying, but distracting. Okay, so Tim, tell me, your radical left political views, are those real?
Oh, no, of course not. No, honestly, I will have whatever political views you pay me to have.
I love it, Tim. You're like the white male version of me.
You're right. No one voted for me either. Hey, Kamala, let's see what can be unburdened by what has been.
All right, buddy. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Hey, you ever notice that Harris Walls sounds like Harry Balls?
I had not noticed that. Thank you for that. Bye, Tim.
There you go, courtesy of Mr. Reagan. I was supposed to get on here at some point, but his time zone is really broken. It's really broken, his time zone. But we'll see. Anyway, so there you go. Maybe Champagne Joshy was better. I don't know. I gotta think that through. I gotta think that one through. I want to see if you guys knew what brats meant. Did you guys know what it meant? Yeah, 75% of you said 76% said I got no idea what the hell that is. I still don't know what it is. It means something to them. I think it means Duck Fat says, I don't know what a brat is because I'm way too Chad. Also, what's a Chad? Oh, you know what Chad means. Come on. You're base enough that you know what Chad means. All right. I never got to talk about the whole genetics thing. I've been thinking about this a lot. Do you think I'm crazy for saying that if people's lived in a certain area long enough? This is the sort of thing I used to talk about on Viewers Discretion a lot. This was the sort of conversation I used to have, not like about politics. No, Viewers Discretion was my time to actually have a heart-to-heart with some of y'all. It was to get to the bottom of things, where it's like I just wanted to like assess what is reality, and the conversation that I was really getting very frustrated by was, to me, it was obvious that if you have a group of people that transplant and move somewhere, and live in that new region long enough, they will start taking on the facial features of the people who live in that region. That the atmosphere ends up having an impact on the facial features where they start bearing a more of a resemblance toward that thing. And I'm convinced that's true. Like, that's why people who live in Russia all have like a round face. And if you go across the globe, you can even see that, you know, China is closer to Russia than, let's say, Japan. And Chinese, one of the features of a Chinese face is going to be rounder than a Japanese face or a Korean face. So you can even see, it's almost like there's this panorama. Because Chinese people don't look like Russians, like, you know, Eastern Russians, but you can see modifications to the facial feature, which I'm convinced has to be a reflection of the region of the world where they've spent generations living. To me, this is obvious. And I ended up having a long dispute with this because my father-in-law pointed out, he's like, well, what about Europeans who moved to South Africa? They start turning black. They're still white. Still look white. That's to me, that's a dramatic change. That takes a while, like more than a couple hundred years. Like, that's something that would take like 1,000 years before you would start seeing it. But I don't think that it's a reference. A lot of people assume, I think most people assume, that your facial genetic, your facial elements are a reflection of genetics. So that if you, it's not that they're transplanted and it's the region that's affecting them, but that they start interbreeding with the local populace, and that's why those features, which may be predominant, will end up being passed down through the ages. I don't know if I'm expressing this well or not. See, this is the easiest thing in the world to just assume. This is the easiest thing in the world to just assume. But it's not that. It cannot be that exclusively. I'm so convinced this is wrong. This is flat out wrong. Oh, yeah, okay. I think diet could be part of it too, John. I think diet, yeah, it could be that the food that they're eating is having an impact on them also, because they're all like eating similar types of foods depending on the region of the world you're living in. So I think diet definitely can have an impact. I don't know. Anyway, this was a big. We didn't even think about. During the course of conversation. To be fair with you, I didn't even like really think about diet, but I think diet definitely can have an impact. I know about Noah and his 3 sons. I don't understand what the point is. That's what someone else tried saying to me, like Noah and his 3 sons, and that. I'll tell you this much. Yeah, okay. Why is it that people living in Africa for several millennia end up developing darker and darker skin? Don't you think that that's sort of a reflection of like, hey, you know what? When you're breeding in the middle of the hot sun for generation after generation, your skin naturally over time starts acclimating toward the elements and protecting you from getting skin cancer. I have a Russian woman so pretty when they get older, all look like Bush. This is another thing that I hear a lot of guys say this, and I was like, I don't think that Russian women have any sort of genetic predisposition as far as being pretty compared to other races. I never even understood this one. This one was confusing. It was always confusing to me. I was just like, really? Russian women? Really? You're going to see the Russian women you see are the ones who are like the mail order brides. Like you're seeing like the creme de la creme. And you're like, this is what your typical Russian woman looks like, which is like basically like looking through like, you know, Italian Vogue and assuming all Italian women look like that. It's like, come on. Come on. What does this mean? It's not being. I'm not being racist. No, don't even start that. Don't even start that. No. That's ridiculous. No. Just no. Last thing I ever knew is someone started examining my skull. I'm very self-conscious about the whole skull thing. Very self-conscious about it. I call it autophagy. No, it's not. I don't know. It was just a thought I had. Anyway, I will tell you this, and the way I tried proving it, because I was like, look, it can't be will breeding make it happen faster? Interbreeding, 100%, obviously, because then you have the mix of both genetics and environment. My point is, even absent breeding, you'll still start looking like them. And the evidence I have is that if I look back at my ancestors came from the Middle East. And I don't look like no Middle Eastern. You look at it like Ashkenazi Jews, and it's like, and they were very, very cloistered with respect to interbreeding with the local populace. So how is it that European Jews ended up losing all the melanin that they had, that their ancestors obviously had when they marched out of, when they're descending from Abraham, who I'm sure looked far more Middle Eastern than I look. And that's the point. You see, you're saying Mizrahi Jews look very Middle Eastern. Yeah, exactly, because they stayed there. What makes, I don't understand. It's bigoted if you say this looks superior to something else, as opposed to, it's not bigoted to recognize a change in facial feature. There's nothing bigoted about that. That's like saying, noticing that if I notice the color of grass, that means I have something against red because I keep noticing the green in grass. It's like, what does that even mean? This is true. I did not breed fruit flies. What is that supposed to mean, Don Mannion? The 12 tribes all come from the same father. Besides, we believe that 10 out of 10 and a half of the 12 tribes actually became 13 tribes, and then 2.5 of them remained, and 10 and a half got lost. So we believe that like all Jews who are identifiable today as being Jewish come from 2.5 tribes, from Levi, from Judah, and from Benjamin. And they're like all the people from Reuben, from Shimon, from Zvulun, from Menashe, they're all gone. They all ended up like basically disappearing and presumably intermarrying with others. I don't know. It's interesting that you say marrying from different tribes. There actually was a very lengthy period of time where they actually would not intermarry between different tribes. That were actually related to ancestral land, though, meaning that when Jews came into the land, which was called Canaan at the time, and took over Canaan under Joshua, so there was different segments of the land that became Israel that were apportioned to this tribe, that tribe, this tribe, that tribe, different segments of land. And because all land would pass patriarchally, patriarchally, well, through your father. So there was concern that what happens if a woman ends up inheriting land, because let's say she's, she gets from her father, and now that land is going to end up, and she's married to someone from a different tribe. So now this segment of land, which is supposed to go to the tribe of Asher, so now that's, and she's married to someone from Judah. So then her husband and their kids are all going to be considered from the tribe of Judah, and that land, which was from the tribe of Asher, would now end up passing on to Judah. To avoid that, they ended up basically saying that each tribe you could only marry within your own tribe. At a certain point, that was abolished, and they were able to marry between tribes. I don't know what they did with the whole ancestral land issue. Judea I wanted to avoid Judea because I knew this was going to confuse people. There is a land area called Judea today. Judah was a tribe within it was the fourth of the tribes. He's also the forebear king, the royalty of most Jews. All right. My point wasn't to fixate here on Jewish genealogy. The point that I was making is that there has to be something that, like, okay, so now when my ancestors end up now basically being sent into exile, and the next thing you know, they're in Eastern Europe and spending generations in Eastern Europe, the melanin ends up fading away. And when the melanin fades away, so how's that happening? Whereas the ones who stayed in the Middle East, the melanin didn't fade away, and they're still much darker skin. They retain the darker skin. So how does that happen? If it's not interbreeding, it's got to be the environment, either the food or the atmosphere, the cold, or I don't know what it is. This is true. It's actually very cool looking. So this is an interesting thing that I hadn't thought of. You're saying environment triggers gene expression. So does that mean that if environment triggers gene expression, if this is true, does that mean that if people who have environment triggers gene expression. Yeah, this is a pretty wild concept that I've never heard before. But this actually to me makes a lot of sense. See, this is why I wanted to have this conversation. So I knew someone would say something like this right here, because this actually makes a lot of sense to me. And what that would mean is that if I have Middle Eastern DNA in me going back, 2,000 years. So now someone who, let's say, to their ancestors going back 2 millennia were always in Europe. And now we were both to move to the Middle East and settle there for like 5 generations, that my descendants would have a gene expression that would likely trigger faster because it's almost like that gene's already there. Although I don't know if that would make that makes sense. Maybe they have latent gene expression also. Now I'm confused. Now I'm very confused. And if I ask the who, I'm going to be less informed than I am right now. How much I know. And again, I'm not saying that DNA doesn't play a role. DNA plays a much quicker, impactful role. I'm not disputing that. That's obvious. My point is that if we strip DNA out, will people still start looking? In other words, here's the thing. Like I said, Russians have rounder faces. That's just a feature that they have. How would that come to be? Why would they be different from, let's say, someone from Yugoslavia or Italy or Finland? Yes, that's a great way of phrasing it. DNA is a shortcut to environment having its impact. I don't know. Anyway, these are just points to ponder. You can drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts on that. I gotta get out of here. It's late, and I have an early morning. So I thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna be landing the plane pretty quickly over here. It was just something that I wanted to just sort of get off, and that concept about gene expression is actually something I hadn't considered. That was really the nugget I was looking for. So thank you, every day. I appreciate that. I'm Joe Neerman, and you ain't. Tomorrow, I'll be back here. I plan on doing a local stream tomorrow. If you're interested in signing up for my fantasy football league, that's goodlogic.locals.com. I plan on having the draft 1 week from next Sunday. Like I said, probably around like 6 p.m. or so. I don't know. I'll come up with a time. And Eastern. And yes, and also I plan on trying to do a locals tomorrow where I'm going to do the second half of Nick Rekieta's motion to dismiss the criminal charges against him. So that's going to be over at Locals. Look out for that. goodlogic.locals.com. While you're here, please like and subscribe. My numbers are getting shafted because, well, YouTube is YouTube. I thank you all for joining me. Don't touch that freaking lab meat. It's not meant for you. Lab stuff is meant for mice. It's not meant for you. No lab meat. No matter what they try to tell you, do not eat the bugs. No bugs. Good night, my friends. And as always, Godspeed.